I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. At Tuesday's Senate Democratic Leadership press briefing, Senator Raphael Warnock promoted the semiconductor chips bill. Citing the bill's impact on Georgia workers, the Democratic senator, who was in a tight re-election race with Republican Herschel Walker, touted the economic benefits of increased domestic chip production. The bill, whose full name is the Creating Helpful Incentives to Produce Semiconductors for America Act, seeks to spur domestic production of semiconductor chips. It has bipartisan backing and should easily pass in the Senate.
From the great state of Georgia.
Thank you so very much. And first I want to thank Senator Schumer for his leadership on many things, but certainly on this CHIPS and science legislation of which he is the lead sponsor. Let's be very clear. Congress cannot allow Georgia or our country to miss this opportunity to invest in American jobs, American manufacturing, and American innovation. We cannot miss this moment to invest in our future. This targeted competition bill is the product of more than a year of bicameral, bipartisan work. You've heard my colleagues speak powerfully about the many ways this legislation will indeed move our economy forward and keep us competitive against global actors like the Chinese Communist Party. But I want to talk about the human face of this public policy, because what I don't want to get lost in all of this is that this is about more than investments in chips. Investments in chips and investments in science, at the end of the day, is about investments in our people. By creating and supporting good-paying jobs, by strengthening broken supply chains and driving down costs that Georgians are facing right now on the ground, and by training our young people and the workforce that we'll need for the economy we'll actually have in the next 10 years, the next 20 years, the next 30 years. So as we pass this bill, what I'm thinking about right now is the people of Georgia. And sometimes in the back and forth here in Washington, D.C., that gets lost. I'm thinking about the 2,700 workers at the Kia plant in West Point, Georgia, where they make the most popular SUV in the country. That plant had to shut down a couple of times, not because of a lack of customers, but because of a lack of chips. And so because of this legislation, the workers down at the Kia plant in West Point, Georgia, won't have to worry about missing days off work and missing money out of their paycheck because we don't have enough chips for the cars they make right here in America. Because we're going to make more of those chips right here on American soil. And so I was glad to stand with my colleagues in Michigan, Senator Stabenow and Senator Peters, focused on chips with respect to the automobile industry here in this country. I'm thinking also about the 400 jobs in the new chip supply plant that's being built right now in Newton County, Georgia, that will be supported by investments in this bill. I'm thinking also of rural broadband providers in my state like the Planters Telephone Cooperative in Scriven County, who need chips for the equipment they use to connect new homes and new businesses to the internet in the rural communities they serve. So this bill will also help in our work with expanding rural broadband. Farmers in Georgia tell me all the time, you can't even farm efficiently without a broadband connection. And the Planters Telephone Cooperative has been, in a real sense, handicapped by the lack of chips. But I'm also thinking about schools like Savannah State University, Columbus State, Middle Georgia State University, schools that have been punching way above their weight for a long time. They will now have greater access to research dollars from the federal government that will create new jobs and, again, train the workforce of our future. There's so much in this bill for Georgia and for our country. So I say to my friends on both sides of the aisle, I'm glad that we are here, but let's quickly get this bill over the finish line. Let's get it to the president's desk, and let's get it signed. There's a reason why the 20th century was the American century. In large measure, it was because of our investment in science, in innovation and technology. And this bill is about making sure that the 21st century, like the 20th century, is the American century.
Thank you. Well said. Just two other points I'd make.